friends. Welcome to Dads and Daddies, a podcast about the lives and times of adult gay men in the here and now. I'm Brian Ruben Sowers, the dad.
And I am Judson Morrow, the daddy.
Hi, Judson.
Brian, what's up, dude?
You look so handsome.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
I love this sweater vest and your earrings. You got wintry earrings, a sweater, and some
sweater
snowflakes.
vest was a birthday present to myself.
I love it.
Thank you so much.
And you walked in. It's freezing today. It feels like in the teens. And you walked in and scandalized my husband because you were holding an iced coffee.
I'm an all-weather iced coffee gay. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know. I feel like even in the cold, I get thirsty.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that caffeine or coffee specifically is not hydrating, but it feels good.
Yeah.
He's like, you can't be wearing gloves and snowflake earrings and drinking an iced coffee.
And your other earring is a sweater.
Correct. Yeah. I was like, I think you can. I, on the other hand, did not, thank you for admiring my outfit. I, on the other hand, did not understand yours because I am out of the loop.
So we haven't brought this topic up on the podcast. You all are hearing this when? On the 27th of January? So at this point, I have been heated rivalry obsessed for over a month. I didn't catch on to it right when it launched, but I was into it before it finished. So I went to the cottage with everybody. But Judson has not yet fully. You have dipped into it.
When people first started to talk about it, because I feel like at the time of this recording, we might be at peak hype.
I don't know.
It's hard to know.
Yeah.
So I'll eat my words if when this comes out, we haven't even peaked. So when it first came out and a lot of people were talking about it, I was like, okay. And I watched the first episode and decided it wasn't for me.
Right.
And just kind of put it on the shelf. But then in the weeks thereafter, everyone's like, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. You got to watch it. So now I feel kind of like lucky to have it.
Yes.
Like to have not experienced yet. There's a little part of me that's like, oh, can I actually enjoy it given how like hyped it is? I'm
Right.
going in with like a lot of expectations.
Right.
But like everyone else has already finished it. And I have this little like day off gift to myself.
Yes. I am very curious for your response once you've seen the whole thing. I do think it takes a little bit of time to get into. And a lot of people have written about the fact that they thought after the first couple of episodes that it might not be for them, but after sticking with it, fell completely in love with it. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a few weeks ago that nutcrackers were now your personality. And I
Absolutely.
feel like heated rivalry has become my personality.
Thank you. That's actually really helpful for gift shopping.
Well, as you can see, I've bought myself T-shirts representing both of the two lead characters. I wore the other one last week, and now I'm wearing my Shane Hollander shirt. And the funny thing, as you mentioned, gifts. So I ordered the Rosanov shirts. I ordered both long sleeve and short sleeve. And when they showed up, Toby looked at the package and he said, I know what that is because I ordered you the same thing.
That's so sweet.
So he now has his own because what was supposed to be mine became his. Yeah, I just love this show, and we don't need to belabor it because obviously this is a topic that everybody's talking about in our world. But for me, the funny thing is, when I say it's now my personality, I think there's a magic about it that each of us feels like it's our own discovery. And especially, I think, because these two actors, Hudson Williams and Connor Story, were not known before this. So we all feel like we've discovered them. And so we all feel an ownership. And it's not unlike how I feel about Bravo. Like when I meet somebody else who watches Bravo, I all of a sudden feel like I have a friend. I work with people in my business. I work with a straight woman in Quebec who is as much, if not more, obsessed with this show than I am. And our client calls now, the poor rest of the team has to sit quite literally through 15 minutes of the two of us just talking about heated rivalry before we can get to business.
You know what? Thank God, right? Because to be on the other end of that where, you know, the call is being run by two men.
Right.
And they're talking about whatever sport.
Right.
Like that is so, I mean, we even talked about this over the summer. Like we had an entire conference where the theme was sports.
Yes.
And it was just like, come on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Here's a little taste. I know that it's popular because sometimes it's hard to tell given like your algorithm or like what your friends are talking about. But my heterosexual middle-aged brother in the Midwest texted me about it, and I was like, okay, if it's reaching him, like this is huge.
No, it has broken through. It's incredible. And listen, is the show itself perfect? I mean, yes, but I can see how you might not think so. But there are so many aspects of it that make magic, and I know because we've talked about this that your algorithm is so full of heated rivalry that it's hard to believe that there's anything left that you haven't discovered. But I still think it's about the journey and not these like little moments that people keep turning into memes and all of that. So I am curious for your reaction once you've watched the whole thing.
I honestly, like, my husband was like, you're only not watching because you're contrarian. Like, you gave it one, which in a lot of cases is true. But then I went through sort of like my Rolodex of popular culture that I'm into in my head. Yeah. And it's like, I love Lady Gaga. I love Chappell Rowan. Like, I'm not so... When I was younger, I was like, if you didn't know the indie band I was talking about, then you were like immediately discounted. I like a lot of mainstream stuff. Yeah. I didn't like it at first. I think something for listeners to understand too about me, I just don't watch a lot of television. Right. The shows that I watch tend to be a show that my husband and I have picked that we'll watch together. Yes. I don't know. I'm more of like a reader, a putzer, an exerciser, a meditator. Like, I'm not saying like, I don't watch television, but it's just not a pastime that I get super into by myself. To have heated rivalry on the shelf, it's actually a little difficult for me to get to. Yeah. Largely just because of the way my brain works. If I sit down to watch television, I'm like, oh, but I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. It's kind of like my nervous energy prevents me from relaxing. And that's why watching TV with my husband is such a tonic, because he's such a grounding force. Like, I could watch anything with this man.
I'm sure he would give it a rewatch.
I think he's interested in a rewatch. Yeah.
Okay. Bruce, you have an assignment. Yeah, so that's Dads and Daddies on Heated Rivalry for now. Do you know what I did this weekend? I went to go see our guest, Josh Sharp.
Oh, yeah.
He does.
And I saw Aaron Jackson.
On the same day.
Amazing, yeah.
That's actually very funny. Josh Sharp is doing this show right now. It's called Josh Sharp Does an Hour of Crowd Work in the Round. He's doing it at the Bell House, which is in Brooklyn, New York. If you are local to New York, I highly recommend that you get on the Bell House's newsletter so that you're aware of every time Josh does this, because it happens now and again. I believe the next one is March 22nd. I'm not sure if by the time this episode airs that there will be tickets left. But what he does, and he's only done it, as far as I know, on 2 different dates so far. On each of those dates, he's done 2 shows. From what he says, this next March 22nd date, he's only going to do 1 show. The Bell House is a fairly small venue, but it's where I've discovered a lot of my favorite queer comic talent. And he sets up the seats in the round about, like, I would say they go maybe 4 or 5 rows deep in a circle, including on the stage. And he stands on the floor, and he spends an hour just talking to the crowd and making connections between people. And he asks everybody the same 2 questions and just sees where it takes him. But as you know from seeing Tada and from having him here on Dads and Daddies, he has such a brilliant mind. He is so quick. He is so smart. And it feels like a magic show. It feels like you're watching this incredible magician. And there were a number of people in the audience, because he tries to speak to as many as he can, who said that they'd been there the previous time also. And I get it, because it's got to be 100% different every single time you see it. And it's just such an honor and so exciting to be in his presence doing it. So anyway, keep an eye out for Josh Sharp doing an hour of crowd work in the round. I highly, highly recommend it.
I think it sounds incredible. And, having spent time with him and watching his brain work, it's like, oh, we're in the company of a genius. Yes. And that feels really good.
And it feels like such a privilege. And the Bell House, again, is such a small venue. You feel so intimate. We got there and most of the seats were already taken. We found a couple seats in the second row.
Wait, the seats were taken by the time you got there?
Don't
Folks,
ask.
Brian shows up to shows an hour and a half early.
Do not. That's an exaggeration. We had the worst Uber experience. I can't even tell you.
Mm-hmm.
It was one for the ages. But anyway, we got there and it looked like we were early, and then we realized no, they had already opened the doors and everybody was already sitting down.
Mm-hmm.
So we got these couple seats in the second row, and then Toby pointed out that there were actually a bunch of seats in the first row because, of course, people are afraid of the first row. And so I was like, we're sitting in the first row. And I highly recommend that experience too.
Did he speak to you two?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yes.
You two collectively or?
No, separately.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And unclear whether he didn't speak to me much. And it was unclear if that was because he knew me.
Right.
He spoke to Toby more than he spoke to me, but it was super, super, super fun. And I really do want to go and take everybody I know. How's your week going?
My week is really good. I am in the midst of probably one of the biggest projects of my career.
Okay.
I'm getting ready for a conference in early March, and I'm excited. I feel confident. I feel like the people that I'm working with have my back and are engaged and enthusiastic and helpful. It's really quite a nice feeling. So I'm getting ready for this conference. I'm going to go out to San Francisco the first week in March, and I'll be presenting all of these workshops.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, thanks. I also, while I'm there, so follow the bouncing ball on this one. When my husband and I went to Toronto for New Year's Eve, we stayed in the Ace Hotel.
Right.
The only other time I've stayed in the Ace Hotel, I was 27 years old.
Yeah.
And this guy, we weren't in a relationship. It wasn't ever like on again, off again. It's just that when we were in the same city, we would kind of like boyfriend up a little bit.
Okay.
I met him when I was living in Ohio and traveling with relative frequency to Chicago. We stayed at the Ace. Keep in mind, folks, that at 27 years old, two things. I was wildly alcoholic and I did not know how to regulate my emotions. So this man...
And I take it those two were related.
Though, definitely. So this man and I got into a screaming match, fueled by me, on the Lower East Side and never talked again. Like I was staying with him for the weekend. I went back to the hotel. I got my stuff. I went back to my apartment in Jersey City, and we just never talked ever again. And we have a mutual friend, like the friend in Chicago that introduced us in the first place. So because we were staying in the Ace Hotel in Toronto, it got me thinking about him. And I was just like, hey, I'm staying at an Ace. It reminds me of the time, like basically like our friendship fell apart. I'm really embarrassed of how I behaved as a 27-year-old, as a 43-year-old. Like, I'd love to make it up to you if we're ever in the same city. Hit me up. And he texts me back on Instagram. Okay, Grandpa. So he sends me a message on Instagram and he says, oh, I live in San Francisco now. Let me know if you're ever going to be out here. And I shared, well, as a matter of fact, I'm coming in March. So after 16 years of not speaking to each other.
Wow.
We're gonna get some brunch.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Wait for the part 2 on that.
He just was like, I really loved this man. I found him, I felt so good in his company. I found him like really smart and really creative. He was one of the most interesting people to that point I had ever met. And I still think he probably could claim that title. So I'm not trying to go into it and like dust a bunch of shit up. He's actually the last person I have to make an amends to.
Oh, wow.
So that's just been kind of hanging. And I just, want to see him. I think after all this time, we can do it. Like we can do it like adults.
Yeah. Wow. I'm very excited for you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much. I really love San Francisco anyway. And it just kind of makes me all the more excited. So I have this trip for work. I'm going to see this old flame. I'm going to spend the weekend after the conference in Santa Cruz with my college roommate. Like, it's just a really cool trip all around. And it's just kind of fun. Like, you never know.
Yeah.
Like, is anything ever really over?
Right.
You never know.
Wow. I'm going to listen to this again in years when you and I have had a screaming match and I think it's all over. The E! True Hollywood story that you can't wait.
I cannot imagine yelling at you.
Oh, that's sweet.
I can't imagine yelling at you.
But from the very beginning, you have wanted to know what the E! True Hollywood story of our breakup is going to look like.
Yeah, and then Toby and I end up together. He and I have talked about that.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, wow. He and I are going to talk about that as soon as we're done recording.
Like, oh, you're going to dump me from my podcast? Actually, we wouldn't end up together. We would give each other the liberty to be alone.
Oh, fascinating. Speaking of my husband.
Fascinating. I fucking hate this.
Speaking of my husband, I don't mean to beat a dead horse about this. But my husband and I are having like the best sex of our relationship.
Good.
And we're 14 years in. It's insane to me. So 2 things I wanted to say about that. Well, 3, but the third I'll get into after the break. The first is that sometimes and I've mentioned this before, but sometimes just changing the smallest thing in your sex act, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even talking about the bottom to top thing. We hooked up recently in the pitch black, and that was like, I don't know, the first time we tried that. It was
we don't go all dark either.
And it was like, and it made it so different and fun and sexy. I mean, I've told you, like, sometimes changing a room, sometimes changing the color of the light bulb, but it's like, it really is fun how just the smallest little change can make it that much more different and fun.
I think that's probably very helpful for people who may be wanting to spice it up in a certain way.
And are having trouble thinking about, like, what can I possibly do? I don't want to try this, or I don't want to try... It's like, it really can be as simple as change the environment even slightly.
And also, don't wait. You know what I mean? Because the longer you wait, the more it gets built up in your head, the more you expect it to be a certain way.
Yeah, these are all spontaneous decisions, by the way. Like, typically, whoever is bottoming spends some time on a different floor of the house preparing. And so the other one is waiting. And lately, I have been the top. So I've been the one waiting for Toby to be ready. And it's just like, I'll lay down in the bed and I look around. And it's not even like a conscious, like, what can I do differently this time? I just thought, like, let me close the shades and see what that's like. And I just did it. And it was fun.
Yeah, what do you otherwise, besides like staking out the environment, what do you do with your time while you're waiting for him to douche? Is that like Instagram time? Is that like nap time?
No, I mean, sometimes it's, I'm on the apps just to see if I can like get myself hard before he arrives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes it's Instagram or TikTok, email, you know? Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Sexy.
And then, and the other thing I wanted to say, and I'm not sure that this is helpful, but twice in the last month, 6 weeks, we've had spontaneous sex. And it's really, I said in a very early episode that spontaneous sex is a myth. And I constantly talk about the fact that, like, scheduled sex is not unsexy. And I continue to believe that. But, wow, the twice that spontaneous sex has happened have been really hot.
Why would you feel bad sharing that? You're like, oh, I know this is annoying, but...
Because I feel like people esteem spontaneous sex as like the only legitimate sexual experience. And otherwise, you've like diminished it by scheduling it or talking about it. I don't know. And I don't want people to believe that. I want people to know that, like, you can say to your husband, like, hey, what does Saturday night look like? Can we hook up Saturday night? And it can still be hot and sexy.
Yeah, and there's room for both. And also when we say spontaneous, I mean, like so much of what we discuss, like saying spontaneous sex is a myth is hyperbole for humor.
Of course.
Like, I absolutely believe that to be true. It's just that I found the way that my days unroll, like, not very often at 43 am I just like, whoops, accidentally having sex.
Yeah. Anyway, I keep saying it because I'm like pinching myself about it, that like we're in such a great place. We've always had a great sexual relationship, but it's like at such a peak right now. And the reason I keep bringing it up is, like you said on a previous episode, just to put it out there to be hopeful. Like, just because it's not great now does not mean it's not going to be great in the future, and that like little tweaks are worth exploring.
Yeah. I mean, like I say all the time, like it's not perfect, it's not personal, it's not permanent. Like things change constantly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to will the change a little bit, or like take your part in affecting the change. But I think that's exciting. Like I think it's very promising for a lot of people who maybe we know a lot of men who are in open relationships who really don't have sex with their primary partner anymore for all sorts of different reasons.
Yeah.
And maybe if they want to re-engage, that's a good how-to.
Yeah. I have a lot more to say on this after the break. So we haven't done an episode where we focus on a topic in over 3 months.
I believe that.
And it used to be our regular weekly MO. But I have a story I want to share with you that got me thinking about being a slut and identifying as a slut and kind of deshaming sluttiness.
Great.
And I think it's a little bit different than deshaming sex, obviously very related. But so I came to Judson earlier this week and I said, what do you think about this as a topic? So we're going to come back after the break and talk about deshaming sluttiness. But first, we have our hookup of the week.
Some sluttiness.
Yes.
Hookup of the week.
Hey, dads and daddies, calling it with my first hookup of the week. So this starts back a little while ago around Halloween. I'm in a gay organization here in New York City, and we had our Halloween party, so me and my partner went. And there was this sexy couple of daddy skeletons when I walked in. And we locked eyes, and I was like, okay, hey, girl. Did my thing, kept going about the night, but just kept getting drawn back to these two skeleton daddies. So the drag show is happening. I happen to be next to them, maybe rubbing up on one of them a little bit. Introduce myself. We say hello. I go to the bathroom, and when I go to, it's a single bathroom. When I go to leave, I open the door, and one of the daddies is there, pushes me in the stall. So we go back in. I might have eaten him out and slipped it in a little bit. It's fine. Then we go back out, meeting the rest of them. Come to find out, his husband is one of our board members. Leave it to me. But we keep chatting, and we end up going back to their place after, but one of their friends is there, so we don't do anything, but we're all just hanging out and chatting. And they end up inviting us up to their house upstate sometime. I'm really bad at planning things, so I pulled my calendar out, picked a date, we wrote it down, what made it happen. So last week, my partner and I, or last weekend, we drove up to their house upstate. It's 2.5 hours out of the city for the most gorgeous little couples weekend. Oh my gosh, they had the cutest little cottage, so well decorated, a fireplace running the whole time. They made us a stew, a bundt cake, and we fucked. Oh, we got there and did the pleasantries. I waited to arrive during the day and not after work, so I didn't want to get there at night in a stranger's house in the dark. Ugh. But we got there in the morning. We hung out for a little bit, got to know each other because we also really didn't know each other. And about midday, all of a sudden it just started, and the four of us went to town on each other all freaking night long. We took a break for dinner, and we would stop and go, but we had sex for hours. And then we all cuddled in bed and watched Ab Fab. Oh my God, it was so cute. The next day, we woke up, we ran around town. It was a full-on blizzard. I've been craving snow. And we got back to their house, and we fucked for more hours. Oh my gosh. It was such a hot fuck fest. The two of us, the two of them. And they were just so nice. It was so great, so lovely meeting this hot couple, going away to their country home upstate, and just having a gay old time. So, needless to say, we will definitely be making the journey upstate more often over next year. Thanks, daddies.
Hookup of the week.
Thank you. I love the enthusiasm with which this story is told. I'm I'm listening to this listener and I'm like, this sounds like someone I want to hang out with.
The same thing.
This sounds like someone I want to hang out with.
Yes, I thought the same thing.
And it's funny. There are plenty of gay couples with cottages upstate. But I'm like, I think I know who he's talking about.
Oh my God. Can I also tell all of our listeners that this actually came through a week before Heated Rivalry premiered? So cottage as a concept was not in the ether. This is not somebody trying to glom onto that. This is pure coincidence.
We talk about this a lot too. It's like the friendship that can come from the hooking up. Like clearly there was a connection beyond, I mean, the sex sounds incredible. But this is a friendship.
Yeah.
And not to say that like sex is the only way to make friends. It's just nice that we don't write it off as a possibility / way to hook up at your job's event.
Are we not going to talk about skeleton daddies?
with the board member? Yes, skeleton daddies, of course.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, it also reminded me of what I was saying earlier about meeting people who watch Bravo, meeting people who watch Heated Rivalry, like this just commonality that we share when you clock that we are both in open relationships. Like it's a similar, like, especially obviously when there's an attraction there, but I don't know. It's like, I do feel that we are kind of on the other side of this journey a little bit, once we have really come into our own in being open. And that when you meet like-minded people, it also really does bond you. And you can have these really like fun experiences, friendship experiences that also include sex.
I also feel like when you meet another couple who's open, you kind of get to exhale a little bit. Right. Because it's like, you never really know like how controlling one might be of the other, or if like friendship could be on the table. When I meet other open couples, I'm just like, phew, this can go so many different ways. It's not to say that when I meet monogamous couples, like I don't feel a particular kinship. Like Michael Foote is in a monogamous relationship, but I felt like very, very close to him speaking with him.
Agreed.
I'm just saying, you're right. It's kind of like...
I will say though, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I will say that I agree with you. My husband, who is also in a very successful open relationship, feels the exact opposite in that as soon as he hears somebody's in an open relationship, he's like, oh, yeah, this could go any number of ways. Him, it's just like stress. For me, it's like my shoulders go down. And for him, it's like, well, now I don't know what the expectations are. I don't know if this night's going to be a dinner party or more.
It's kind of why I like to... the comparison I want to make here, just in terms of like kinship and closeness, it's really a joy for me to meet people in sobriety. And when I meet another sober person, especially at a meeting, because I primarily go to queer meetings, sex is removed as an option.
Right.
Because it's like, I don't want to fuck with your sobriety. I know you don't want to fuck with my sobriety. Like, let's just be like sober besties together. And I've seen my friend group kind of like change and evolve over the last couple years. And all of the men that I have become friends with are without a doubt men who would capture my attention at a sex party or on an app.
Yeah.
At the same time, immediately upon meeting them, it's a relief because it's like we're meeting in the context of sobriety. Let's not get it twisted. Like when I go to a meeting in P-Town and the guy behind me pokes my shoulder and is like, do you want to come to my place afterward? Like, absolutely.
Right.
I just try not to shop at my regular meetings like in New York. And it's nice to have it off the table. The same way when you meet a monogamous couple, you're like, oh, well, we'll only be friends.
Right. Yes. Toby's not up for sex with friends for the most part. So I think he wished all of our friends were monogamous in that way. And I want to have sex with all my friends. So
I'm more like Toby. I feel like once it gets to a certain point of the friendship, the sex is over.
Yeah.
Just me.
Yeah.
My husband is always very quick to point out that I like make these kind of blanket statements. He's like, well, this, then this, well, this, then this. And it's just like, dude, just be open to the idea.
Yes. I get that.
Wonderful, wonderful story.
Yes, thank you so much.
I can't wait for part 2.
Yes.
The cottage, part 2.
Yeah. When you invite Judson and Brian up to the cottage.
I'll film. I don't like...
shall we take a quick break?
Let's take a breakie and come on back.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under-eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait. Order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
Hey, listeners, welcome back to Dads and Daddies, the podcast. For the first time in quite some time, we are actually discussing a specific topic. Today, we would like to address de-shaming sluttiness.
Yeah.
It sounds like this topic came about because of a story? Something happened?
Yes, something happened.
Take it away.
And so I'm going to preface this by saying I am a tad anxious about sharing this. And the anxiety comes from shame around sluttiness. And so part of this is me looking to you to help me de-shame my own sluttiness. All right, let's take a step back. The funny thing is, when you and I were on That's a Gay Ass podcast, Eric Williams asked us if we proudly identify as sluts, and you had no problem saying yes. And I think I was much more tentative about it, but I said yes, partly because I know as the co-host of Dads and Daddies, I couldn't not say yes, but there was some tentativeness there. Okay, you may remember this, but when Aidan Wharton was on last week, I kind of mentioned that there had been a moment recently where I knew Toby had had a particularly successful day and it left me feeling some kind of way, but I thought, like, that's not his problem, it's my problem, and I need to work through those feelings.
Oh, one of those, like, I want to hook up too.
Yeah. And other feelings were wrapped up in it. And you may also remember that when I took you out for your birthday pedicure, that I mentioned that Toby had disappeared the entire day previously, and I didn't know where he had gone, but of course that's part of the arrangement. So when I came home from the pedicure, he said to me, he's like, "Oh, yesterday I went out for my adventure." I forget how he phrased it, but it was as if I was supposed to know what he was referring to, and I didn't. But what he had done, we've talked about day use hotels before. You can go onto certain websites and book a hotel just for the day.
Just for like a block of hours.
About 6 hours, 8 hours.
That's right, listeners.
Yes.
Dayuse.com.
Actually, hotels by day, I think.
Hotels by day.
And my husband, being very resourceful, had also done the research as to which hotels overlapped between that website and I think it's cumdump.com or something like that tells you what hotels...
Best Cum Dump, yeah.
Best Cum Dump, that tells you which hotels don't require a key card to get up to the room.
I had learned about said website from a hookup, and I was like, dude, thank you so much. Like, how did you find a hotel that doesn't require a key card to get up to the residence floors? And he was like, oh, there's a whole website for that. It's like, God, what won't the gays think of? So he cross-referenced the renting the hotel and also finding a hotel where you didn't have to key card up.
Correct.
Fucking genius.
And so anyway, so he had spent a day at a hotel, and he'd had some fun. So I went online and I booked the same hotel that he had booked, and I wasn't going to tell him until after the fact. But we ended up going out to dinner, one margarita in. I was like, okay, full disclosure, I've booked the same hotel for the same kind of day. And my incredible husband then gave me all the hot tips about what the check-in experience is going to be like, and what he brought and what to wear, and he was so sweet and thoughtful and gave me every last piece of advice. It was very, very, very sweet, and he was super excited for me. And I even asked him because for, those of you who haven't heard this before, he does all the physical editing of our podcast episodes. And I was like, would you mind doing that so that I don't have to work on it that day? And he's like, absolutely. Like, he was enthusiastic about doing it early so I could just have that day to not have to focus on that. He was so sweet. So before this day, separate from sex parties, because the funny thing is, and I want to get into this a little bit later, like, I think of sex parties very separate from this kind of thing. But outside of sex parties, I don't think I've ever had more than 2 hookups in a day. And the times that I can think of having 2 hookups in a day, it was one outside hookup and then one with my husband on the same day.
Oh, interesting.
And
okay.
I think I can remember that happening once or twice. And like, I can very specifically remember when and all of that. Yeah.
Regarding this hookup day with the hotel, did you have a person in mind, or you thought, I'm going to get this hotel and then sort of like roll the dice on the apps?
That.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay.
But like I'm saying, before this day, 2 hookups in a day was my max, and it was like one external, one with Toby. But Toby had mentioned in our conversation, the idea of like quantity came up, and like it didn't occur to me that like there could be a lot of hookups. It's not just about one. So I was there for 5 hours. I was there from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And in the 5 hours, I had 5 separate hookups.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it's funny because at some point it almost became a numbers game. I was like, well, let's see how many more I can do. The good news is I would score them all from B+ up. Like,
boom. Amazing.
It was kind of incredible.
B+ is good for a one-off hookup. To get 5 that are B+ or greater.
I mean,
yum.
Yeah. I mean, I would give maybe 3 of them an A+, 1 an A, maybe the last one a B. I don't know, B+. I mean, it was the quality matched the quantity. It was kind of incredible. But it's I bottomed every time, which like I hadn't done in 2 months. This was my first time bottoming in 2 months. There was no physical issue, which was very great.
Also, welcome back to bottoming.
Thank you. So, do you have your phone?
It's upstairs.
Oh, okay. I was going to text you pictures of each of the 5.
I mean, send them to me later. I have all day to look at them tonight.
I mean, I texted them to a mutual friend, and his response was, in all caps, woof. And then he said, what a lovely variety, sons to daddies. And it's true. It was kind of incredible. The conversation rate, the success rate, but it didn't occur to me until kind of I was leaving that like, oh, wow, this like in a strange way is the sluttiest day I've ever experienced in my life. And again, the reason I don't think of sex parties in the same way is because like we're all there doing it together. It's this community experience. That's what the party is for. But to like take a day to go and sit in a hotel and book like back-to-back hookups in which I bottomed, it felt to me like the closest I could imagine to being a sex worker. Not that's a bad thing, but it was the first time I was like, oh, now I understand, like when people have like sex multiple times in a day, like this is
how they do it.
This is approaching what that experience might be like.
The distinction too with the sex party, or at least my experience with sex parties, so we'll keep this is Judson's experience at sex parties.
Yeah.
Because everyone is there to fuck, the rotation happens more quickly. It's like you might spend 3, 5, 10, maybe 20 minutes with a person, but because there's like this sort of like buffet to get to, I find, or at least I have found for me, that I don't spend a ton of time with one specific person. But when you're having hookups in the way you describe, like scheduled in a hotel, at that moment, it's just you two.
Yeah.
Did you ever... I have a logistics question.
Yes.
Was it like one had to end for the next one to get scheduled?
So at first, but then the longer I was there, the more conversations that were happening. It was like, so I would like, there were a couple people I talked to early in the day who were like, oh, I can't now, but maybe later. And so like, I knew that was a possibility.
Right.
One of them, I have to pull this up and tell you how this conversation began.
I guess what I'm asking too is like, did the timing ever get tight? It's like, 3 is lingering, but like 4 is on the way.
I never gave anybody the green light to come up until somebody else had left, but there were people who were kind of like waiting for that green light, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Ooh, powerful.
Yeah. Really only one. The last one really wanted to come down. And this is something else. Like, he was really turned on by the fact that I was doing this and wanted to be
there.
Well, wanted to be like at the end. Like, he wanted me to have done this enough, which is not something I've ever I don't know that that's a turn on or turn off for me either way, but like, it would never occur to me to be like, we talked about this last week because somebody in the hookup of the week was like, their person that was going to come over said like, service some other people first. Like, that was a turn on for this person.
Oh, and I think there's also there is some validation in fucking somebody that other people want to and have fucked. Like I'm just going to use the word, value. It doesn't like give them value in life, but in terms of like the sexual conquest, we're like, oh, this person is desirable.
Yeah.
So they have sexual currency.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by value.
So the first one happened, and within my first hour of being there, the second one probably took another hour or so to make happen. And then, after that, the final 3 were pretty right on top of one another. And the person who wanted to come at the end, I was talking to him before or at the same time as the third one. But I'll tell you about this third one in a second. I really wanted him to come over. So I was putting off the other guy. And then as I was about to give that last guy the green light, somebody I was talking to earlier in the day was like, okay, I can come over now. So then I put him off briefly. When that guy came over, I was like, hey, I've got this one guy who would be interested in tag teaming, but the guy that had come over wasn't into that. So I just put that guy off again, and then he finally came over. So
great. So it worked out.
They were all hot, truly. But the third guy, it was my own heated rivalry experience, I promise you. He called himself in his profile bro/mask, 26, a physique like I can't even describe. But like, there's no way this guy's out of the closet. But like, he came in so sweet, but very mask, clearly like a jock. And but what was so sweet is like, he was really into kissing, and it was almost like, I don't know, it was like he was like kind of desperate for it in the sweetest way. It was so Shane Hollander coded.
What makes you think that he can't possibly be out of the closet?
I mean, I just like his whole demeanor. Maybe it's my fantasy painting a picture, but like, I don't know. There was like, he needed to use a condom. There was just like a lot about it that was not that means anything, but I just like, there were so many parts of the picture that at least it was easy for me to tell myself that this was a closet
I believe
boy.
you. I'm looking for texture. I think anymore too, especially with my observation of some younger men, is that they don't even come out anymore.
Yeah.
They just go off and do the thing that they're into.
Yeah.
That's really hot though.
Maybe. I don't know. He just presented, there was nothing about him that presented outwardly out to me at all.
Like me. This faggot.
But he was possibly one of the most gorgeous people I've ever been with. I will show you the picture. But literally everybody was great. And I don't know, like at the end, like I said, like I started to like realize like, wow, what did I just do? And like, kind of crazy, this became a numbers game. And really like everybody who came in, like there was a part of me that really wanted to bottom every single time so that I could like rack up one more number. Like, it was like, I just started to think like, is this okay? And why wouldn't it be? But also, why was it so fulfilling? Why did I love this? Why do I want to make this a regular occurrence? But also like, oh my God, this might be like the craziest thing I've ever said on the podcast. I have a friend who is listening to this podcast right now who recently said like, shouldn't there be some shame? And I keep thinking like, no, I just don't think so. Not when it comes to sex. Like, sure, should there be some shame in the world? I would hope people feel shame about inflicting harm upon the world, upon other people. And I was going to say intentionally inflicting harm, but like, I don't even know if the intention matters. I think that if we inflict harm, cause harm, then yes, we should feel shame about that. But outside of that, like, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like I was so happy to have the permission and an example and support from my husband to like have this day. And it did feel really good. I realized about hooking up and myself that every time I'm down on myself because I can't make it happen, that the fact that I can't host and I don't have the time are probably really big factors in that. And the fact that I'm out here in deep Brooklyn. But like removing all three of those obstacles, like I had a very successful, very fun day.
Remember that that is so key. It's like you cannot host. Yeah. You're in a time crunch and we're in South Brooklyn. Like those three things together are just true for you from a hookup scape. But I mean, those are the impediments.
So anyway, the reason this became about deshaming sluttiness is because I loved it. I had a great day. I want to do it again. But I started to think about like, I have so few people. I thought about, well, I can't not tell the story in the podcast. But I also thought, can I tell the story in the podcast? And I thought, oh gosh, I have so few people I can tell this to in my life. But then I thought, well, but I'm about to tell it to the world. I don't know. I got in my head and clearly that's all about shame. And we talk about deshaming sex all the time. And I have no problem talking about sex. But then like 5 back-to-back hookups where I bottomed in a hotel room just felt like, oh my God, can I put that out there in the world?
It's also a little easier to, and this is true about sluttiness. This is true about anything where we might feel guilt or shame. It is easier to broadcast when we are not anticipating or like in the neighborhood of like a face-to-face reaction.
Right.
Like if you're telling, I feel like I'm reacting to this story exactly how you would want a friend to react.
Sure, yeah.
But if you're telling someone a story of anything that may have caused embarrassment and you're in a one-to-one, you're getting a real-time reaction from them. Yeah. And that is maybe what prevents us from sharing sometimes. Yeah. How do you feel now, like removed from the situation?
I'd feel great. I mean, I keep thinking about it. There's one guy who has messaged me every single day since on Grindr. Oh, that's another thing. Of the 5, 1 was Grindr, 1 was Scruff, 3 were Sniffies.
Amazing. Yeah. You're getting your money's worth.
Yeah. One of them has messaged me every single day. I have responded once. I mean, it feels great to know that, I don't know, it was good for my ego. It felt good. I mean, the sex was fun. I love sex. I love hookups. So that was fun. You know, I do get in my feelings sometimes thinking that, Toby is enjoying our open marriage more than I am. And so it was nice to feel like, oh no, I took a bite of the apple to kick off the year. But there's also part of me that is like, should that be a once in a lifetime day? Because like, I shouldn't be doing that, quote unquote. But like, why should I feel that way?
Is there any part of you that feels, and your answer is going to kind of, it's a tributary model here. Is there any part of you that feels guilt around the fact that you are doing this when you should have been at your job?
No, because I spent Sunday working on my actual 9-to-5 job with the purpose of clearing enough of my schedule to be able to do this. So, by the way, I had my computer there out on the desk, plugged in on the Wi-Fi, signed into my work email, and between hookups was responding to emails and Slacks, which is what a workday typically consists of anyway. And anything that I needed to like actually focus on, I did the day before and just like either scheduled it to send on the Monday or just got things done.
So you weren't shirking responsibilities.
No.
You didn't have any responsibilities at that moment to work, to your husband, to
and by the way, the reason I left at 3:00 was because I needed to then get home and take my daughter to her 4:00, her 5:00 appointment in Williamsburg. So
Amazing. So you were keeping your other obligations in the forefront. Okay. So it sounds like the shame is around just like the sex and the quantity itself. One of the things that we've learned from our previous guests too is that like gay sex is frowned upon, and this is like meta.
Yes.
Because it doesn't result in a baby.
Right.
There is immediate shame there because we are only having sex for pleasure and not having sex for procreation.
Yeah.
So even though that's very obvious to us, especially as like men who've been having sex with men for you 30 years, me 20 years, there's still a part of us that feels like a little bit of guilt because we're told that this act sort of flies in the face of the duty of sex,
right?
Which is procreation.
Right.
So I think there's a little bit of that. But moreover, especially removed from the situation, you sound joyful, you sound content.
Yeah.
We've also learned, I like returning to what Dr. Israel Martinez said.
Yeah.
Like, we have sex for a bunch of different reasons.
Yeah.
And validation can be one of them.
Yeah.
It just gets into tricky territory if that's like the constant driver. Like if you were like, I'm going to go fuck as many people as possible just to prove that I'm a man.
Right.
Like that is dangerous thinking.
Right.
But it sounds like it was relaxing.
It was just fun. And like,
what's the difference between 5 hours at a hotel and FiDi and 5 hours at Wall Street Bass down the street? Like, what's the difference?
Right.
In terms of like self-care.
Yeah.
In terms of like taking care of other people's space and body.
I also don't want to leave the impression that I left there whipping myself and scolding myself. Like I left there very happy, and it was more of a like, I actually don't feel any kind of way about this other than that was really fun, and I think I might make this a monthly activity.
You feel like you are supposed to feel shame about this.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
But you don't.
Right.
Amazing. That's exactly where we want people to be.
Right.
Like you've de-shamed sluttiness for yourself.
Right.
I think it becomes sexual conquest becomes problematic if it infringes on other duties, our duties to our employer, our duties to our spouse, our duties to our friends, our duties to our families. But like once a month, think about like the cumulative time that other people take to get their nails done or go to yoga or get their hair cut. Like this is just a condensed decompress.
Right.
I think it sounds incredible.
It was incredible. Yeah.
Why do you think, like, if someone were in a similar situation, like, let's do this, because a lot of our listeners treat what we talk about as kind of like a how-to. If one of our listeners was like, you know what, that sounds really incredible, like, guide them. Like, what should they know? Well,
the first thing, like I mentioned, is to find a hotel that overlaps on both Hotels by Day and what is it, Best Cum Dump?
Yes.
So that you are finding a hotel that does not require a key card to get up to the room, because that would be frustrating for you to have to go downstairs every time somebody comes.
And honestly, like, worse things worse, like, if you have to go get them, like, okay, but
it's fine, but yes. Nicer if you don't have to. Okay. The one thing you should know, at least in my experience and Toby's experience, is that Hotels by Day is a third-party company. And the person that you check in with likely will have no idea what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So when we both checked in a week apart from each other, we had to like explain, like, no, I have a reservation. I booked it. And, and Hotels by Day even sends you an email with a button in it, like press this button if they don't know what you're talking about, kind of thing. And it was very funny. So I had a slot from 10 to 4. I left at 3, but my slot was from 10 to 4. They tell you cannot check in a second before 10. So I was literally standing outside the hotel at 9:56, walked in at 10. And I said, because I'd been warned by Toby, I said, hi, I booked a room through Hotels by Day. And And apparently I was in the system. Toby had not been, but like my name didn't throw her off. And she took my ID, she took my card. You do have to leave a deposit like you would at any check-in. And then she said, okay, well, check-in's not till 4:00, so I can take your bags. And I was like, no, actually, I have the room from 10 to 4. I booked it, through Hotels by Day. And she said, I don't know what that means. She said, I've heard people talking about that. And I said, well, it's just I only have it for a 6-hour block from 10 to 4. And then she said, oh, okay, I can check you in. Like, didn't check anything else, just like, and then gave me a room. And so, I brought lube, I brought poppers, I brought my bulb.
Did you bring a charger?
Yes.
Great.
I brought my computer. I brought a phone charger. I brought my computer and everything I needed for my computer to be plugged in. There was free Wi-Fi and it was good Wi-Fi, so that was good. I got my phone on the Wi-Fi right away because the service wasn't great for the apps without Wi-Fi where I was. And then so I was so anxious to get started because I had a limited amount of time that I just immediately, so Toby had the great recommendation to bring a change of clothes and like just bring a t-shirt and shorts, because if you're just gonna be like hanging out in the bed and if you're gonna want to like put your clothes back on between hookups, like just a t-shirt and shorts is best, especially in winter, just like, you can be as comfortable. So that was a very smart recommendation. I'm glad he told me that. He also recommended, I didn't end up doing this, but like to pack like a jock strap in case like you met anybody who was like into that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I didn't end up doing that and nobody brought it up. So I think that's everything I brought. Oh, I packed a lunch and I brought snacks.
That's so cute and also so me. If I were getting a hotel from 10 to 4, I would have like 7 Bear Bell bars in my backpack, like just in case.
So Toby had ordered in when he was there and said that the food never showed up, and then he eventually went downstairs and it was just sitting on the counter. But then he realized that he had his do not disturb sign up the whole day, so he wasn't sure if that was why. But nobody had ever knocked. Anyway, and I also put my do not disturb sign up the whole day. But I just packed a lunch. I made myself a peanut butter and jelly. I brought a box of Wheat Thins. I brought a chocolate bar. I brought a Gatorade and a Red Bull. And so I never left the room the entire time I was there. Okay, so then I got there and opened up all the apps. Oh, and the night before, I had changed all the apps to say that I took off everywhere that I said I couldn't host. I took off, usually my name is Invite Me Over. I changed that. I think I changed myself to bottom everywhere because I knew that's what I wanted to do. On Sniffies, I changed to hosting in my hotel, which is an option. So all my profiles were set up. And then when I got in there, even before I changed out of my winter clothes, I got on the apps and very quickly started getting into a conversation. So yeah, so it happened very quickly, the first one. And I had not cleaned out yet, but I had a very normal bowel movement in the morning. And Dr. Evan Goldstein said, you often don't need to clean out. Poop doesn't actually live there. And so this first conversation was going so fast. And I invited this person over. He said, okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes. And I was like, well, I should just do like a quick rinse.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out not to be as clean as I wanted it to be. So I'm like frantically cleaning out. And I finally got one like fully clean pass, just one, which does not usually mean much, before he came in. But it seemed it never came up. It was never an issue. So I guess it was good enough. And then, so that was a great hookup. And then I did clean out after that just to be 100% sure, but I was clean. But I never told anybody else that because others who had asked how many people I'd been with, I didn't say like, well, I cleaned out the first one. Although I did at the end of the day, when the guy was the last guy who wanted to know, he's like, how many, loads? And I was like, well, 4, but 1 used a condom. Toby was like, I don't think you needed to tell him that. But anyway.
Yeah, 4, 5, whatever.
Yeah.
It's so helpful for me to hear this, and I hope for our listeners too, because there could be tons of reasons why you might be a little anxious about doing something like this. it also is geographic and financially prohibitive. Like if you're not in a big city that uses this service, although I do think it is national, let me ask you to paint a very clear picture for our listeners. How much did you pay for this 6-hour block?
$150.
Okay. And if I remember correctly, they take a hold on your credit card for more than that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to make...
It's just a hold. I mean,
yeah. So you want to make sure that you're using maybe a credit card instead of a debit card.
Yeah, I'm not even sure they'll allow a debit card. Yeah.
Oh, to me, I mean, $150 is a lot. However, how much does a 2-hour massage cost?
Right.
It's always easy for me to think of another thing that may cost just as much.
Yeah.
Or, for example, I mentioned this previously in this episode, the Wall Street Bass on Fulton Street. If you go on a weekend and have anything to eat, you're automatically spending $100.
Right.
So I get it. I think $150 might seem like a lot, but if you break it down per hour that you're there, plus per hookup, boom.
I have to tell you, hookup number 4, the conversation on scruffies. On scruff.
That's the combo.
Wow. On scruff started with, I said, hey there. And he said, hey, stud, you're one of the podcast dads.
Love that.
And then after we fucked, he was like, in all earnestness, it was very sweet. He was like, can't believe I hooked up with a celebrity. I was like, I am not a celebrity. I was like, kinda.
I love that. No, like Daniel Nardicchio told us, like you're as famous as people think you are.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to show you pictures. So this was number 1.
Oh my God. Brian.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yeah, I know. So he was lovely. The other funny thing was that I didn't know what to tell people when they were like, oh, so where are you in from? So
Brooklyn?
I eventually got to that because I realized the truth will always set you free. And now I regret the people that I didn't say that to. So this first one, I was like, I'm in from LA. And Toby apparently was told the truth to the people that he met. But I don't know. It just felt funny. And I thought at first it was easier to say that I was from somewhere else than to explain that like I was just in from Brooklyn. But then I was like, you know what? It's too complicated. So for almost everybody else, actually everybody else I met in person, I told them the truth if they asked. There was one other person I was talking to online that we came very close to hooking up, and he never asked where I was in from. But he was like how long are you here or something like that? And I was like, oh, just for the day. And he was like, well, let me know next time you're in town. And I didn't like on the app go in.
Right.
But he was like, well, I'm going to star you on Grindr and I'll look for you next time I see you close. I'm like, now I can't go back on Grindr until like I'm in the city. Anyway, this was number 2.
Gorgeous.
Yes, this is the one who's been reaching out to me every single day. This was my heated rivalry. I don't think he's out of the closet.
OML.
Yeah.
This looks like AI created it.
I promise you, he looked like this, if not better.
That's so hot. Good for you.
I know. I kind of can't believe it. And then you might know this person because it turns out we have mutual friends. This was number 4.
I don't know her name, but I've definitely seen her around.
Yes.
Okay.
So I told him the truth at the end, and because he asked, and I said I was from Ditmas Park, and he said, "Oh, I know a poly house out there." I was like, "Yes, we all know. They're very close friends of mine." And then this was the final one who wanted to be.
Bravo!
I mean, it was a good day.
I'm into all these guys.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I'm into a lot of things, and I'm definitely into that. And I love that you don't feel shame or guilt about this.
Yeah.
You're taking care of yourself.
Yeah. Thank you.
And you took your doxy pep.
Absolutely. First thing I did when I got home.
And you were like on prep to do
it.
Of
course.
Amazing. You
I took an extra dose of prep that day.
You used a condom when they wanted to.
Yep.
This is great.
Yep. And another person who couldn't end up coming over was like, I'll only do it with condoms. And I was like, that's great, but I just don't have any. He's like, no, I'll bring them. And then he realized he didn't have any, and he's meeting one over. So anyway, but yeah, it was a good day.
I really hope our listeners hear this and are like, A, I'm going to do this, or B, I've done something like this and felt bad about it. There's
no reason to.
There's no reason to.
No.
Like, no guilt or shame attached.
Yeah.
The reason that I asked about, like, did you feel like you were shirking work is only because I feel like we get drilled into our heads, like, if you're not working, you're not a person. But that didn't seem to bother you. No other obligations were, like, being skirted.
I mean,
to make
I think
this
you know
happen.
me. I don't skirt obligations.
Right.
And so I would never have skirted work. But I made sure, like I said, the day before, and it helped. The other moral of the story, I'm so glad I told Toby in advance because he was so supportive of it and excited for me and even like my cheerleader. The only reason I didn't want to tell him is because I didn't want to, like, if it was a complete fail, I wanted to be able to, like, position it in the way that I don't know. I wanted to get okay with it before I had to tell him about it. And I didn't want to, like, sit there knowing that he was at home, like, wondering how it was going. If it was just a complete fail, it would have made me feel even worse. But it wasn't. But I'm so glad I told him because he was such a supporter of me to the degree that, like I said, he edited the episode early for me. And when I said to him the day before, like, listen, I'm going to carve out some time to get all of my actual work done that I know I need to do tomorrow so that I can, like, have to work as little as possible. He totally let me do that and was happy to. Yeah, I mean, he said he worked from there when he did it. And he said, like, it really kind of frustrated him when, like, work became busier than he expected it to. And so, like I said, I had my laptop open the whole time. I was checking Slack and email. But it turned out to all work out.
I mean, I think the last thing that we need to frame for people is like, hey, what if it didn't work out? Like, what if you paid for this room and, like, you didn't get any meaningful bites, or the people that you hooked up with were not B+ or above? That's okay too. Like, it's
totally
not
okay.
It
wouldn't have felt great. I'm glad it didn't go that way. But listen, I've had those days. I mean, not those days in a hotel trying to rack up hookups, but, like, yeah, I've definitely had those days where I've just, like, sit on the apps all day and nothing happens, or it does, and then it's a hugely disappointing hookup. You know, and yeah, those days don't feel great. But hopefully, you have friends around you who you can speak with about those things. I had one very disappointing hookup. I ran into Judson on a subway and it turned into a podcast. So
I think it's funny that I'm such a sad boy that I'm like, oh, if I rented a room, I would just want to sleep.
Believe me, there was that thought. All right. Should we take a quick break and come back with our very interesting Go Ask Your Dad?
Oh, I love this one.
Again, on the theme of heated rivalry, it keeps coming up.
Let's take a break.
Okay.
Good for you.
Thank you.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait, order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
Hey, listeners, welcome back to Dads and Daddies, your favorite podcast, or maybe one of them. We have arrived at Go Ask Your Dad, where Brian and I address listener-submitted questions with our life experience. Just as a reminder, neither Brian nor I are mental health care practitioners. We are simply offering our take on your questions, given the many, many years we've been out gay men.
To send us a Go Ask Your Dad question, please email it to us at dadsanddaddies@gmail.com. You can record it like you do your hookups of the week via your voice recorder or voice memo apps and email it to us as a voice memo because those turn us on the most, but we'll take them any way we can get them. This one came through our website.
Here it is. Help! I'm a 27-year-old guy that hooked up with a well-known professional athlete while he was in town for a major game. #heated rivalry. I gave him the best blowjob of his life, a few of them, and he was super chill about it. Gotta love the DL jocks. We've kept in touch and maintained a casual friendship. Now, his family's trying to pay me off and get me to sign an NDA. What should I do? Do I take the money and stay quiet, never talking to him again, or risk maintaining the friendship at least? He's a really sweet guy and I would never out him. I totally respect him, but his family has other thoughts. Any advice?
I mean, I love that you had this experience. I love that for you. It is my personal belief that if the family has gotten involved, the friendship is probably not a likelihood anyway, right? I mean, I don't know how they found out, if he felt that he needed to tell them for some reason, or if they looked at his phone, without his knowing. But regardless, their involvement says to me that they would probably try to impede any further relationship regardless. I'm not saying take the money and run, but I think you, what do we say? Be happy with what you got and not sad that it's over. I think let's just hold this tight as a fabulous memory and move on. I think that'll also just be emotionally healthier for yourself.
Here's the thing. You cannot have an adult relationship with a child, and this person is a child. To the extent that his parents are so involved in his decisions, that is not an adult man that you can have a reciprocal friendship with. At the same time, yes, Brian and I often, we are such big proponents of community. So it feels almost shitty to say walk away, as if we are leaving this other queer person in the lurch. Here's the thing. Homophobia in sports and representation is not on you to fix, right? I think this person's parents are way too involved in their decisions. They're going to not want a friendship anyway. Be grateful that you had the experience with him. And honestly, if I had gotten paid for every NDA I've had to sign, I would be sitting pretty. The fact that you're being asked to sign an NDA.
Seriously?
Oh my God. Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I've never been asked to sign an NDA.
Honey, I've been out fucking for years. There are people that I have had sex with that I've never told my husband about because I signed an NDA.
I'm shocked. I love it. Wow. Okay.
I get it. I get it.
I know people ask me, how do we get our guests on the podcast sometimes? I'm like, I'm a gay in New York. At some point,
right.
You've met enough people.
The question is coming from a really great and beautiful place. You obviously have care and concern for this person. We're going to pray for him. I hope he finds the support that he can. This obviously is really, really tough. I think being a professional athlete, one who is a man who likes men, is very difficult in this climate, even heated rivalry aside. Heated rivalry is fiction.
Yeah.
Heated rivalry is fiction.
I know. I wish it wasn't. No, I'm happy that it is, because I like Connor's story to be more accessible than Ilya Rozanov. Anyway, that's not the point. I hadn't thought when I said what I said about this poor guy needing the support and the friendship, but I also do agree with Judson. I think that this person's parents' involvement just really makes it, I don't know if I want to say dangerous territory, but certainly difficult territory for you. And I think what you can do is let this person know that you will do what you need his family to do, because you also know that as a friend, that will likely make it easier on him. But that if he ever wants to reach out to you as a friend, that you are, more than willing to be there for him.
I will also offer this. When you say, I would never out this person, I believe you.
Yeah.
Brian believes you. You believe you, and our listeners believe you, because we have this level of trust and compassion and respect within the community that someone on the outside of it that is operating from fear,
yes,
which is a lower power, is never going to get. They are never going to understand that even without an NDA, you would respect this person's decision not to come out publicly, especially because were you to out them, then you lose everything.
Yeah.
Right? Like, on the one hand, you're protecting him for him, and on the other hand, you're protecting him for the sake of your relationship. If the parents have the power to ask you to sign an NDA while also paying you off, they have the power to ruin your life.
Yeah.
Please, please, please be careful.
Yes. Agreed. Thank you so much for the question.
Really, really great. I'm so sorry that you're in this position.
Yeah. I was going to say, as the one person here who has not signed an NDA.
Never? No NDAs?
Not for sex. I sign them all the time for work, but not for sex. I thought we were going to say, like, gosh, this is so outside the realm of our experience. But then here comes Judson with his collection of NDAs. Well, thank you so much for submitting the question. I hope everything works out for you. Please keep in touch and let us know if there's any other way we can be of help. Y'all, we love you so much. It really means the world to us that you are come back every week to listen to us. We hope these conversations continue to be insightful and helpful for you. Please let us know what you want to hear. Are you a guest person? Are you a friendly fire person? Are you a go ask your dad extravaganza person? Do you like our topics? And if you like our topics, we've covered so many of them. And sometimes the reason we don't get to more is because we have trouble thinking up topics that really we can investigate through an entire episode. Some of you have been really helpful in throwing out some ideas, but they've been challenging for us to think about how we can expand for long enough for an episode. But send us your thoughts and ideas because we want to keep making content that you want.
So well said.
Thank you.
We want to make content that you want. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah.
And we will see you in a week.
We'll see you in 1 week.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.